What's up everyone, Sigs here, and today we have part 12 of a series in which I showcase a variety of Pokemon TCG singles that I've picked up recently, up close and in 4K resolution, but today with a little twist because all of these cards are Rayquazas. This is a very popular Pokemon, and we have cards from different sets with different art styles at different price points, and we're going to see all of them in 4K, as close to what they would look like in person, which is not what they're going to look like in pictures or in scans that you would see online. So whether you're new to Pokemon or if you've been collecting for a long time, there should be something here that you haven't seen before, at least not in this much detail. So I think the last card is my favorite, but this first one is an absolute banger as well, because first up we have the Rayquaza EX from Roaring Skies. This card is an ultra rare that I paid $25 for, and it's got a really cool artwork. Rayquaza literally destroying the frame of the card, showcasing so much power. And on top of that, we don't have any texturing or anything. It has this really glossy finish you can see, but the foiling is insane. Really, really shiny foiling makes this card pop amazingly in the light. Almost looks like it's made out of metal, even though it's definitely not. Great silhouette and contrast all around the edges of Rayquaza there. This shiny holographic waves moving, glinting in Rayquaza's eye. So I'll get you in up close in 4K, as steady as possible. Let you see that artwork in great detail. You can see the way that the holographic shines there. These little patterns of holographic up at the top, the EX sparkling by itself. I think this is a really cool looking card. Just the artwork by itself was enough to get me to want to buy this card, but after seeing it in person, the way that this holo just really shines on different parts of the card and the way that it pops in the light like that so incredibly, I could not be happier owning this card. So hopefully seeing it in this way gives you some additional information to decide if it's something that you would like to pick up for yourself. And for our next Rayquaza, we do have another EX. This one is the Rayquaza EX Black and White promo. So this one I paid $17 for, and it has a really interesting art style, I think. Again, with Rayquaza breaking through the frame there, adding a sense of depth to the card just in and of that itself. And once again, no texturing or anything on this. This one just has a glossy finish, but there is a holographic shine. This card is a little curved, but if I bend it flat, you can see at least in that top left corner, the holographic there. Kind of bands of holographic light you can see here moving up and down the card. And this one also pops pretty well in the light. Very, very shiny there. Again, looking almost metallic. And we'll get you in up close here, let you see that artwork. You can see all these lines on the top and the edge of the card, adding to this sense of momentum, like Rayquaza is bursting forth from the frame of the card itself. I'm actually not a huge fan of the art of Rayquaza itself, but I think all the other elements of the card, these motion lines on the top, this static electricity on the bottom, all of this crazy stuff going on really ties it together to end up being a pretty awesome card. And this next Rayquaza is pretty awesome too. We have the Rayquaza EX X and Y promo. I paid $10 for this one, and once again there's a lot going on. So another artwork of Rayquaza bursting forth from the frame, shattering through the edges of what would otherwise be a basic card frame. And once again we have some pretty cool contrast between the holographic and the matte finish on Rayquaza. You can see the glints in its eyes there. And this is another one that pops amazingly in the light. Some great color contrast, a kind of yellow silhouette around Rayquaza, making them really stand out against the background of the card, especially when we look at that holographic versus the flat finish on Rayquaza. And once again, as we get up close here, just so many cool elements around the edges of the card. These little sparks, the crackles of lightning, the lines of motion coming out from Rayquaza, down to the bottom here with little shattered frame elements falling off the bottom of the card. Just a lot going on in a card that I think looks really, really cool. A great artwork of Rayquaza there. Pops amazingly in the light. Cool holographic background. Very, very cool. But you don't have to spend that much to get some pretty cool looking Rayquazas, because these next three are a little bit cheaper. And for the first one we have this Rayquaza V. So this is a Sword and Shield promo card, and I only paid $4.50 for it, but it still has a lot of really cool stuff going on. So first of all, we have this full art artwork of Rayquaza, and we have this Ray holographic pattern, these bands of holographic light moving across the card. Again, some nice contrast with the flat finish of Rayquaza and the holographic background, even extending through to its eye there. Now this one also pops pretty well in the light there, a lot of really nice color contrast going on, as we can see there. And we'll get you up close, let you see that artwork. It's really cool full art artwork, Rayquaza soaring in the sky there, some extra holographic down on the bottom. And I think this one's pretty cool for a cheap price. Again, no texturing, glossy finish, but nice holographic on different elements of the card. Nice contrast with the matte finish, amazing color pop, really cool full art artwork of Rayquaza flying in the sky there. So if you need a Rayquaza but you don't want to spend a lot of money, that might be a good one to pick up. Or another good one to pick up for not a lot of money is this Rayquaza V Max. Now this one is from the Crown Zenith set. I only paid $3.11 for it, but this one has all the elements of some much more expensive cards. First of all, we do have that same holographic ray pattern moving across the card diagonally, and it does pop amazingly in the light, some great color contrast going on there. But unlike the other cards we've looked at so far, this one is textured, and you can see we have different texture lines in different places on the card. We have these swirls in the background there, adding a sense of depth when those texture lines contrast with the more flat lines on Rayquaza itself. Really adds a sense of depth to the card in the right light, makes it pop, makes that holographic shine in different ways at different locations. And as always, we get you in up close. You can even see the individual texture lines up close there in 4K at 60 FPS, all the way down to the bottom there. So once again, this is something you might not even realize about the card, seeing it in pictures or scans, but seeing this textured finish in person really adds to this card, which by itself is already, I think, a pretty good looking card. So this is another one that might be good to pick up for not a lot of money, to fill a slot in a binder or just have loose. I think this one's pretty cool. But for our cheapest Rayquaza of them all, for only $1.00, we have the Rayquaza V. This one is from the Evolving Skies set. It is an ultra rare, and it's similar to the other V Rayquaza that we looked at, but with a different artwork. Once again, we have these holographic ray lines moving across the card, again contrasting with the flat finish of Rayquaza. This card does pop quite well in the light, some pretty good color contrast going on there, the green of Rayquaza against this kind of magenta background. And this is a pretty cool artwork of Rayquaza here. Rayquaza about to launch a Dragon Pulse or perhaps a Spiral Burst there. And while there's no crazy texturing or anything, just a glossy finish, we do get these really cool holographic lines, various finish mediums, a great color pop, and for only $1, this may be one of the best Rayquazas to pick up if you're just looking for this Pokemon in particular. And hopefully by watching this video, you can see almost exactly what this card would look like in person. And we have 3 left, finishing with my favorite, but first of all, we are going to take a look at this Rayquaza EX, ultra rare from Roaring Skies that I paid $14.50 for. And once again, we have an artwork of Rayquaza bursting forward from the frame. I love this energy swoosh. It really adds a sense of depth to the card. Rayquaza's hands and antenna bursting from the frame. And again, a nice contrast with the flat finish of Rayquaza against that holographic background. Just look at Rayquaza's eye there when that holographic hits it, like it almost comes to life. Very, very cool effect, I think. Again, this one pops great in the light. I love especially around the edges and the bottom of the card, the way that that electricity just seems to light up in the right light. And no texturing or anything, once again, that glossy finish, which does allow the holographic to come through pretty well. But we'll get in close, let you see this artwork in great detail. You can see all the little sparkles and effects around the edges, the way that the holographic there is shining against certain elements of the card down at the bottom there. I think this one's just really cool, the way that Rayquaza's bursting forward there, almost like a 3D effect, the way that Rayquaza's popping out of the card there. Very, very cool pickup for me, and I hope that you enjoy seeing it as well. And for our penultimate Rayquaza, we have the Rayquaza EX. This one is another X and Y promo that I paid $11.11 for, and I really like this one for the color in particular. There's so many different color elements going on between the purple and the blue. The energy ball in Rayquaza's hand really stands out in the light. And this one also has that holographic pattern moving up and down the card. This one doesn't have the same eye glint on Rayquaza, but it does still have the contrast with the matte finish of Rayquaza against the holographic background. And I love the holographic on the bottom on the clouds there, contrasting with the flat finish of the text box of the card. So I'll get you in up close, let you see all the detail, all the little sparkles, all the motion lines, all of the various colors and texture in the art. Looking really, really cool. I think there's just a lot going on with this card, and when it all ties together, it's just so colorful and shiny and dramatic looking. Definitely one of my favorite cards in this video. But this last one is my favorite one of them all, and what we have here is the Rayquaza V Full Art Ultra Rare from the Evolving Skies set. So I paid $22.99 for this one. It's not even the most expensive card in this video, but it's just my personal favorite art style. We do have these holographic lines moving across the card from the top right to the bottom left there. But what's really cool about these V cards is the way they pop in the light. Some of the best contrast I've ever seen on a Pokemon card. The bright white silhouette and stenciling all around the individual links and perimeter of Rayquaza there really stands out against that bright orange and red background in this beautiful showcase art style. And if that's not enough on its own, this card is textured as well. So you can see we have various textured patterns, little triangles and shapes breaking up that background, and it makes Rayquaza stand out against that background. The links on Rayquaza itself having their own texture pattern makes them leap out against this background, especially when combined with that silhouette contrast. No matter how you look at this card, the Rayquaza just looks so prominent, so I think for showcasing a specific Pokemon, this is about as good of a look at a Rayquaza as you are going to get when it comes to a card just featuring an individual Pokemon. And you can see that background with the crazy color lines, the way that the holographic hits against that texture, with that amazing color pop. It's just such a cool looking card to me, and once again one that you might not realize is so cool looking and has so much going on if you only saw a picture of it. So hopefully seeing it in 4K in this video, you have a better idea what this card actually looks like, and hopefully that's useful to you to inform any decisions about whether or not this is a card you would like to own. And there's probably an abrupt jump cut here because after recording, I realized we actually have one more Rayquaza, and this one is by far the most expensive and probably the coolest of them all because we have the Rayquaza GX Alt Art promo from Celestial Storm. I paid right around $120 for this one, and as you can see, this card is incredible. We do have this flat holographic finish all around the card, and as you could probably guess, it pops amazingly well in the light. That flat white background contrasts with the cyan silhouette and stenciling on the shiny Rayquaza and just looks amazing. And of course, this card is textured. You can see there this radiant starburst pattern that these shiny GX cards have. Really allows Rayquaza to stand out against the background when it's in this kind of lighting, and that holographic flat finish really shines in this light as well. So whether you look at it like this with Rayquaza popping out against the textured background, or if you look at it like this with the flat finish, I think the card looks amazing either way. So we'll get you in up close in focus. You can see those texture lines on Rayquaza itself as well as on the background. Those little sparkles all around the middle of the card and this great holographic finish. So obviously this one, very, very expensive compared to the rest. Not the most expensive Rayquaza, but one that looks amazing, I think. This one's actually going in a separate page in my binder along with other shiny GXs, not on the Rayquaza page itself. But if you use this as a centerpiece in a 9-page binder or even anywhere else on a 9-page binder, it would certainly fit in with the rest of the Rayquazas that we looked at today. So I did want to add this as a little bonus on the end. You could see this amazing shiny variant of the Rayquaza, all these different elements, the foil, the texturing, the color pop, the cyan silhouette. Such a cool card, and you could probably see why it commands such a high price. But that's all for this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Please leave a thumbs up if you did, as it will help other people to find this video. And if you like this kind of showcase either of a specific Pokemon or of a specific art style or of a variety of art styles and Pokemon at various price points, then consider subscribing. I am planning to come out with at least one of these videos a week for the foreseeable future, and I have hundreds more cards to go through, so stay tuned if you'd like to see that. But that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you found this somewhat entertaining and somewhat informative, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for watching. Take care. Peace.